What is pretty privilege? Is it a certain skin color, a certain hair color, a way you dress, the way you speak, your gender, how many likes you get on a social media post, how many people speak to you in a day, how many compliments you get in a day, the way people treat you on a daily basis? It's a mix of all of those things. Pretty privilege isn't just one thing. It's a whole combination of different attributes our society has deemed as pretty, as desirable, and as the standard of what pretty should look like. Depending on how many attributes you fit determines how much privilege your pretty gives you. But with this privilege comes lots of responsibility, lots of positives, lots of negatives, lots of repercussions to something that you can somewhat control. And in this video, we're going to be delving deep into what pretty privilege is, my own experiences with pretty privilege, and how pretty privilege affects the lives of everyone in the society that pretty privilege is a part of. So without further ado, let's get on to the video. So to start, pretty privilege is pretty exclusive in the way that it targets women in opposition to the way it targets men, since prettiness and desirableness is focused mainly on women. And with pretty privilege, there is privileges that your prettiness will give you, and there's also repercussions to the privilege that you have been born with. And in this video, I'm basically going to be explaining my personal experiences with pretty privilege and how people will treat you based off of how pretty you look, and how the way people treat you varies significantly depending on how much effort you put into being pretty. Pretty privilege is pretty significant on social media. You'll find that people will go viral, that people will build a outstanding social media presence solely from the power of pretty privilege. You will find that creators can get away with almost murder solely because they are attractive, and the prettiness that they have has given them a much higher privilege than creators who are not deemed as pretty or as attractive as the other creators. So pretty privilege is basically how your attractiveness gives you leverage in the real world, and how much easier your life is based off of the way that you look, the color of your skin, the way your hair is, how you actually dress, and how you present yourself according to what our society has deemed as attractive and pretty. So some of the main positive attributes that I have experienced personally with pretty privilege is that people will generally be a lot kinder to you. They will not be rude. They will be more willing to help you in situations. You will be stared at a lot. No matter where you go, you will walk into a room and you will see all the eyes on you. You can make literal eye contact with almost every person you walk by. You will usually have a large amount of likes on social media or a large following, or you will get a lot of positive comments speaking about how pretty you are. You will find that if you are a woman, men will be much more willing to help you out in situations. Men will be much more willing to speak to you, to acknowledge you, and to most likely respect you more than they would a woman who is not deemed as pretty. You will usually be gifted a lot of things just for asking, so you will not need to work nearly as hard or as much as people who have not been given this privilege, as people will be more inclined to help you out and to give you things because they are attracted to you. This is especially prevalent if you are a woman who is receiving something from a male. They will most likely expect something in return for being kind to you. Hey guys, it's a little Latina editing over here. But I noticed there was a big part of this video that I missed out on the positives of pretty privilege, and that was that you are able to get away with a lot more things that people who are perceived as ugly or unattractive would not be able to get away with. People will also tend to take it a lot easier on you when they give you the repercussions for any negative actions. So for example, if you were to steal something for a store, people would most likely punish you less harshly than they would if you were unattractive, since they are attracted to you. So that's another thing that pretty privilege will give you, is that people will tend to be a lot less harsh with the repercussions that they give you if you are very attractive. You'll also most likely be forgiven a lot quicker and a lot easier by others whenever you cause a problem, or if you do something that was negative or hurtful, than you would be if you were unattractive, or if you just weren't perceived as attractive in our society. And now we slowly delve into the negatives of pretty privilege. You will most likely be stalked on a regular basis. Since I was a little girl, I have had numerous stalkers that would follow me around, that would watch me all the time, that would walk around my house, that would stare inside my windows, when the only time that they ever saw me in real life was when I would walk out of my house in sweats and a t-shirt to take out the trash. You will most likely be excluded from group events. A lot of girls will be very insecure next to you, feel very jealous of how pretty you are, and exclude you from a lot of events. They will not ask you to hang out with them. A lot of them will also tend to be rude to you. A lot of them will bully you. You will also find that a lot of men are more prone to objectify and sexualize you solely based off of your attractiveness level. It is very easy for them to no longer view you as a human being with thoughts, feelings, emotions, and intelligence, but more so as a being that's there solely for their physical pleasure. People will most likely assume that you are sexually active, that you are constantly going through a whole array of boyfriends or girlfriends, and tend to respect you less if you are too attractive. I notice specifically on days where I really focus on looking attractive, on days where I really try to look cute and accentuate the gift that I have been given, I'll find that people will either be obsessed with you and like to talk to you and want to speak with you and give you things all the time, or people will tend to really dislike you and be very rude, very mean, and just try to start fights with you and honestly make you look bad. And on other days when I do not care so much about my appearance, when I'm wearing sweats, when I'm wearing a baggy t-shirt and have my hair up in a bun, you will see a drastic change in how people interact with you in the real world. You will find that people are nowhere near as kind or giving as they were previously. You will find that people will push you to the side. People will not acknowledge your existence. They will show a side of themselves that you did not see when you were accentuating your beauty. And you will find that people are a lot more comfortable being cruel. You will find that people will respect your opinion and the things you have to say a lot more when you are catering towards your prettiness rather than when you are catering towards having a basic look and not really trying to show off your prettiness or to cater towards that. Overall, pretty privilege definitely has privileges. Quite obviously, that's why it's called pretty privilege. But there are very significant negatives to pretty privilege that ultimately a lot of the time can lead to very violent acts towards women specifically, and a lot of over-sexualization, and can ultimately be something very negative that isn't something you would really desire, and that people who don't really fit into the stereotype of pretty privilege would really experience. Overall, I would say pretty privilege is something that I am definitely used to and something that I prefer. In all honesty, it has made my life quite a bit easier than those who do not have this privilege, but that doesn't mean that I don't have to deal with the negative side effects like stalking, over objectification, and sexualization on a constant basis, even when I'm not trying to appeal to that mindset. But that is basically just my take on pretty privilege and some of the things that I experienced with it, and some of the things that I noticed pretty privilege does to others and how it makes other people treat those with the pretty privilege. So I just thought this would be a unique video on my channel, since I don't really make any serious type videos really on my channel, and for some reason I've just been seeing a lot on pretty privilege and just thought I would put a little bit of my take on it, since I have experienced a lot of the privileges and the not so nice side of being pretty and attractive in today's society, in America specifically. With that being said though, if you found some unique information from this, or if you relate to this, don't be shy. Go ahead and leave a like, comment, or subscribe. This will just help boost this video in the algorithm and allow others to see this video and to possibly start some debates in the comments, or just speak about your experiences and things like that. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and have a beautiful day.